Gretchen is training other people to do tech, which is totally, totally awesome, because then we become more and more flexible with possibilities. Now, are we okay?
I think we are.
Oh, okay. I'm sure we're okay. We'll find out what that means. Okay, so a couple of announcements. This Sunday is the sitting. Please come as you're able. I think we'll talk more about way-seeking mind talks then, or way-seeking mind. See, that was to scare you all into coming if you're giving a way-seeking mind talk. No, it's okay. And precepts is tonight at 6:45. Everyone is welcome. So we've been doing way-seeking mind talks for a lot of years. I think in the summer, it kind of one of those things that turned into a tradition. Before that, we were just making it up. We got people calling in. No, it's okay. So I wanted to say, so the format is that two people each week. Well, this week it'll be me saying something and then Sherry. Oh, so I really want to time myself, because we're going to be good about this, because if we aren't conscious and good about this, then somebody's not going to get their time. And we want that to happen. So I'll be maybe giving a little heads up, not to myself, but I did set something. And then we want a little time to be able to ask questions or whatever might come up. But confidentiality, we're not recording any of this. It needs to feel safe. Anything that's said here stays here. Even if you wanted to say something to somebody about what you heard, you could say, would it be okay? And the person who gave the talk can say, you know what, that was perfect for just then, and that was enough. Or you could say, sure, go have tea or whatever. So each person will have about 15 minutes, a little time for question and answer. And so probably we won't be doing small group discussions unless we surprised ourselves and had time during this time. But I think what's really beautiful about this is, and we know each other, and some of you know each other in different ways. We know each other through sitting together. We know each other in silence. We know each other in little snippets and small groups. Sometimes we have social conversations like, hey, what'd you do this weekend? But there's something about sharing both with ourselves and with the other. Is looking more deeply and speaking deeply from the truths of our lives, which is, I think, always kind of a surprise in a way, and a beautiful offering we give to each other. I was saying to somebody earlier, it's like you look back on your life and you think, well, I was born here and then this happened and then that happened and that was good and that wasn't good. But way-seeking mind talks, you get to take a really kind of both a particular view and an absolute or ultimate view, and look at your life as like, what is this lifetime? And what's been going on through big, deep Buddha eyes? What's the path of this lifetime that's been unfolding? And of course, we don't know anything, and anything we say, we could have a different view tomorrow. But I think we begin to, we're all Buddhas waking up to be Buddhas. And we just think, oh, it's Chris. I was born in Columbus, Ohio, and and that's absolutely true too on a relative level. And I was just thinking, my my in the last 6 months, I've had feedback, and my son has been part of the conversation of people laughing. And it must be a relief to him to be able to laugh with other people. So one of the things that I do that I don't even really know that I do is, and I must have been doing it for a long time, is saying, everybody's going to die. I think it's self-evident and sad and funny, but this kid has grown up with it. It must be really nice to be able to laugh with my sister and with other people. It's like, I think most people don't walk around saying that kind of thing. I think that's pretty Buddhist. And I think, well, my father was a World War II combat vet. I grew up in that, and my mother's mother committed suicide. And I remember acutely as a small kid when my another grandmother died. I mean, so it's particular, and it's a really deep Buddhist teaching. Everybody's going to die. So I don't know what you all have been doing your whole lives, but I'm sure you've got some through line like that. Or mystery. What's the mystery of being in this particular life and body in this time? So I thought, and I am paying attention to time, I look, me, I love to do this. I looked up Suzuki Roshi and Way-Seeking Mind talks, and his whole lecture on Way-Seeking Mind, at least several, and found one from Mel Weissman, and so maybe we'll do that on Sunday, but I wanted to share a little bit from him. When we feel the evanescence of life, or when we have a problem for ourselves, the direct feeling of the problem, of the fact you have to face, this is how you arouse the way-seeking mind. Like you're going to die. Everybody's going to die. When we study something, we usually set our everyday problem aside, and for a while we study something especially. That is how we generally study. On Sunday, you might go to church, but to go to church in your everyday life is some completely different thing. Two completely different activities. I remember feeling that acutely when I was growing up, and it bothered me a lot. But in our everyday life, we have to feel the contradiction, some contradiction, and eventually you will feel some uneasiness without having anything to rely on. This kind of feeling is the feeling you have when you arouse the way-seeking mind. When we are young or younger, to act as you want, you can choose something good, ignoring something bad, and by working something good, you feel good enough to spend your early years. But some uneasiness, some dark feeling always follows you in your life. Isn't that interesting to acknowledge that, these questions? Like, I never believed what people were telling me. I knew they weren't telling me the truth. I just couldn't figure out what they weren't telling me, but I knew it. It was very disturbing. Even though you try to appease your enthusiasm by working hard and exhausting yourself on what you were doing, this kind of effort will not give you any conviction. So without having any conviction, and to be jumping around in this world may be the pitiful life. You will be pitied by someone who has a strong conviction and deep wisdom about your life. Pity is, I think, compassion. It's just that person's really unmoored. So we should be ashamed of doing something proudly, vigorously, with some ecstasy even, ignoring the other side of the world and the other side of our life. We all do it, but study it. By nature, human being has good and a bad side, half and half. When you want to do something good at the same time, you don't want to do something good. If you want to get up early at the same time, you say, you know, it's comfortable to stay in bed 5 minutes more. And he laughs and laughs. It's too early. When at the time you want to get up, you will say to yourself, no, yes, no. He laughs. Yes is 50%. Laughs. No is 50%. It's pretty honest. It's like, this is really deep honesty. Okay, just a little bit more. So, and he laughs again. Usually we do good things 50%, bad things 50% or more. Bad things 60% and good things 40%. But you become very conscientious more and more. You study your life. You wake up. That's just what happens. I mean, if you're paying attention at all, and even if you're not, you're still trying to figure out, how am I ever going to get this right, and what in the world is going on? The more you reflect on yourself, the more you become conscientious. And because you became more and more conscientious, you feel as if you are doing 99% bad things. Laughs. Which is probably why you weren't paying attention before, because you were really afraid what you were going to find out. And then once you start paying attention, you can't believe, like, oy, 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 oy. That is actually our human nature. It is not a matter of what is good and what is bad. It is a matter of being a human being, our human nature. When we realize this fact in our everyday life, based on our human nature, you have to wonder what we should do. If you realize this fact, you will not be fooled by anyone. You may have some pleasure in theater or a restaurant, but you can't fool yourself completely. That's called waking up. I can fool myself for a little while these days, but mostly it's like, oh, that's suffering, I'm causing suffering, or this is suffering in the self, or you cannot deceive yourself when you realize this fact. What is it to be a human being, alive in this body, in this time, negotiating with life all the time, and then being asked, because that's what life does, to meet it in yourself and everything just as it is. It's kind of good, huh? The talk goes on. He's very real. Okay, so having said that, each person's talk is completely particular. There is no comparison. Some people are giving their way-seeking mind talks for the first time and have practiced a relatively short time. Some people have practiced in this Sangha for a long time and have already given a way-seeking mind talk and are going to give another one with a kind of reflection after this many years of practice. Some people have practiced for a long time but are relatively new to this Sangha. So again, I'm kind of loving mixing it up this way, because we're all of the above and none of the above. And whatever you say will help everybody, because there's way more commonality to being human when you really look deeply. Okay, so Sherry, would you like to come up?
Okay.
So I think what I'll do, and I'll probably get a